All right, we are going to be talking more about the angle bisector and exterior angle theorems. So we're going to just practice this. We've already talked about what these theorems say. Okay, so for the angle bisector theorem, we can set up proportions in order to solve for missing sides of triangles. And then the exterior angle theorem tells us that the two interior angles of a triangle are equal to that exterior angle. Okay, so just a little refresher. So let's go ahead and look at number 1. This one we're talking about the angle bisector theorem. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just write that on here. So numbers 1 through 5, we're talking about angle bisectors. Okay, so that's when this angle is cut in half, which allows us to set up equal proportions. Okay, so for number 1, what we're actually looking for is this entire missing side. Okay, we're going to call that x. Okay, well, what we need in order to find x, and there's a couple ways to do this. What I'm going to do is actually find this missing side. So again, if you remember, if I split this into two triangles, okay, my purple triangle and my green triangle, okay, that means that I need to find the missing side for x, for my purple triangle. Okay, so I'm going to set up that proportion in order to find what that is. Then I can take that, add it to 10, which will give me my whole side. Okay, so I'm going to do my purple 16 over x. Okay, think like take the big side over the small side. 16 over x. And we have to do the same pattern on the other triangle. So big side over smaller side, 20 over 10. Okay, and now what we do to find x is we cross multiply. Okay, so we're going to take 16 times 10. Okay, and then that's going to give me 160. 160 divided by 20 is what's going to give me my x. 160 divided by 20 is going to give me that x. We can put that in a calculator. 160 divided by 20 is going to give me 8. Okay, so I know that the missing side for my purple is 8. So this x is equal to 8. That means my whole side, that whole red x, is equal to 8 plus 10. Okay, so x equals 18. That whole missing side. Okay, beautiful. So let's do that again for number 2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, set it up into two triangles. Okay, this bigger guy will be my purple triangle. This guy will be my green triangle. Now this guy's a little different. What we're actually looking for is this x right here, and then it gives us this whole length. Okay, so we have 30 and 9, but 30 is the entire length, 9 is just the piece of the green triangle. Okay, well, in order to find the missing side, so we'll just call him question mark for my purple triangle, what we can actually do is take 30, the whole piece, subtract the 9, the green piece, and that'll give us my purple piece. So we know that that guy is 21. 21 right there. Okay, so now I can go ahead and set up my proportions. Okay, so again, I can think big over little. Okay, and it's a little harder to see on the other triangle, so maybe think of it another way. Left over right. Again, left over right. Okay, we got to use the same pattern. Equal 9. Okay. Now, I'm going to write this a little differently. Now, when we're cross multiplying, if you remember, I call this pattern the fish because if you draw it out, it kind of looks like a fish. There's the body, there's the tail. Okay, with cross multiplying, what we're actually doing is we're multiplying those two and those two. That's why it's called cross multiplying. Okay, so we're taking 28 times 9 and setting it equal to 21 times x, which is just 21x. Now you'll see that the process is the exact same, it's just set up a little differently. Okay, so first I want to take 28 plus 9. Okay, so this is going to give me 28 plus, or not plus, excuse me, 28 times 9. That's going to give me 252. So I have 252 equals 21x. Now it's just an equation that we're solving. So in order to get x by itself, I need to do the opposite of times by 21, so we divide by 21 to both sides. And we get x is equal to 252 divided by 21 gives me 12. Okay, so we know that that missing side for my green triangle was 12. Okay, again, set up a little differently. Okay, but we found out that that missing side that helped us find that was 30. Take the whole piece, subtract the piece it gives you, and that's the other side of that, or the other piece of that triangle. Okay, number 3. So this one's kind of easily set up. We can just, again, take two different triangles, purple and green. Okay, so for this guy, I'm going to think top over bottom. So I'm going to take x over 16 and set it equal to, again, top over bottom, 25 over 20. Okay, now whether you want to set it up with the fish or the cross multiplication, let's do cross multiplication. Okay, so we have x times 20 is equal to 16 times 25. Okay, so 20 times x is just 20x. And we set it equal to 16 times 25. 16 times 25 is going to give me 400. So we have 20x equals 400. Now it's just an equation. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, do the opposite of times by 20 to get x by itself, which is going to be to divide by 20. And we get that x is equal to 400 divided by 20 is 20. And there we go. Beautiful. Okay, so let's do the same thing for number 4. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, again, it gives me the whole side of the triangle, and then it gives me a side of, we'll just call this guy my green triangle, and this guy my purple triangle. What we're actually looking for is the missing side on the green triangle, but we're also missing a side on the purple triangle. We'll just call him question mark. Okay, we don't know what that is. But we know if the whole thing is 6, and we just take away that piece of 2, so we can get 6 minus 2, that'll give us that side, which is 4. So we know that that missing side for my purple triangle is 4. Okay, well now I can set up my proportion. I'm going to go left over right. 6 over 4 is equal to, again, left over right, x over 2. Okay, now I can cross multiply. 6 times 2 is equal to 4 times x. Okay, so we have 6 times 2, which is 12, is equal to 4 times x, which is just 4x. Okay, now we can solve this just like any other equation. So 4 times something gives me 12. Well, in order to get x by itself, I need to do the opposite of times by 4, which is to divide by 4. So I get x is equal to 12 divided by 4, which is 3. And there we go. Okay, beautiful. Number 5 is just like numbers 4 and 2. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead, set up my triangles. So this little skinny guy will be my purple triangle. This other less skinny but still skinny guy is my green. Okay, now what we're looking for is the missing side of the green. Okay, but we also don't have this missing side for our purple. Okay, so what we actually have to do, if this is the whole side, 6, and this is x, well that means just like on numbers 4 and 2 where we took the whole side minus what it gave us, and that gave us that side, well, we don't know what it is, but we can still write it as 6 minus x. Okay, and I should have written that in purple. That is my purple side. Okay, if that's x, and that's the whole thing is 6, we take 6 minus that, and that's how we label that missing side. Okay, so this is going to look a little different, and that's okay. Okay, so we're still going to set it up proportionally. So I'm going to go top over bottom. So we have 5 over 6 minus x is equal to top over bottom, 10 over x. Okay, it looks a little different, but we're going to solve it the exact same way. So let's go ahead and cross multiply. 5 times x is equal to 10 times 6 minus x. Okay, well 5 times x is just 5x, and then I'm going to write this out. It's equal to 10 times this whole piece, 6 minus x. Okay, again, looks a little different. So now what we have to do is we actually have to distribute, right? We got to get rid of these parentheses. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this next step up here. So we have 5x still on that other side is equal to 10 times 6, which is 60. 10 times negative x is negative 10x. Okay, so it's an equation, but we have x's on both sides of my equal sign. Okay, in order to solve, I need all of my x's on one side. So remember, I like to take the smaller one. Well, you might think that 5 is smaller than negative 10, right? But we know that negative 10 is actually less than positive 5. So this guy's my smaller guy, so I'm going to move him by doing the opposite. Opposite of negative 10x is positive 10x. Okay, that moves him over here. Do the same thing to both sides. So now what I have is 5x plus 10x, 15x, is equal to 60. Okay, and here comes my last step. Okay, so to get x by itself, I need to do the opposite of times by 15. So that's going to be to divide by 15. So my x is equal to 60 divided by 15 is 4. And there we go. So the new part of this guy was we actually labeled one of the sides with an x. We had 2 missing sides with x's in them. That's okay. We just cross multiplied. We had x's on both sides. That's okay. We moved it all over so we could solve for x, which gave us 4. Okay, so that was the angle bisector theorem. Now we're going to talk about the exterior angle theorem. Okay, so let's write these guys. We're dealing with exterior angle theorem. Okay, now remember, exterior angle theorem tells us, so let's go ahead and draw a little picture over here. Okay, so if I have a triangle, but one of the legs or the sides is extended out, okay, and we'll call this guy angle A and angle B. Okay, and this guy angle C, because those are the angles we're dealing with. Okay, so what this is saying is the 2 interior angles added together, so angle A plus B, is equal to angle C. Okay, so you just take the 2 interior angles, add them together to get that exterior angle. Okay, so let's try it. So we have on number 6, I have my 2 interior angles. Okay, so I have, let's see, my 2 interior angles. Okay, this guy, which is actually 4x minus 8, and this guy, which is 106 degrees. Okay, they both equal, added together, they equal the exterior angle, which is labeled 12x plus 2. Now, you see some x's thrown in there. That's okay. We're going to set it up just like over here. A plus b equals c. So a plus b equals c. Okay, so we have 4x minus 8, that whole angle, plus the other interior angle, 106, is equal to 12x plus 2. Okay, so it's an equation. Okay, we got x's on both sides. So first thing we want to do is combine our like terms. Okay, so on this side, on my left side of my equal sign, I see some like terms. I see negative 8 and 106. Those are just numbers. I can combine those. So I have negative 8 plus 106, which is going to give me 98. So this whole side turns into 4x plus 98 is equal to that side, which there are no like terms, can't combine an x without an x, so 12x plus 2. Okay, now I can just solve for x. Okay, so in order to solve for x, I need all my x's on one side though. So I want to move the smaller one. Out of 4 and 12, 4 is smaller, so let's do the opposite of positive 4. Negative 4x. So I get 98 is equal to 8x, because 12x minus 4, plus 2. Okay? So now, I'm looking at this side of my equal sign because it has my x on it. I got to get rid of this times by 8 and the plus 2. First thing I got to get rid of is the plus 2. So I subtract 2 from both sides. I get 96 is equal to 8x. Okay, and my last step for getting x by itself, opposite of times by 8 is divide by 8. Divide by 8. We have x is equal to, whoops, sorry, just knocked my phone. 96 divided by 8, which gives me 12. Okay, so we solved for x by finding that x was 12. Okay, in order to solve for x though, we needed to set up our equation that the two interior angles A and B are equal to the exterior angle, which was C. Okay, number 7, let's do that again. So I have my two interior angles, 2x plus 11 and 4x plus 21. And it's all set equal to my exterior angle, 104. Okay, so we have, let's do that. Set A plus B equal to C. So 2x plus 11, my first angle, plus the next one, 4x plus 21. It's all equal to 104. Okay, so now it's an equation we can solve. In fact, we have all our x's on one side too, so we just need to combine like terms. So I see I can combine my x's. 2x plus 4x gives me 6x. And then 11 plus 21 gives me 32. And it all still equals 104. Perfect. So now I can just go ahead and start getting rid of what's on the same side as my x, because all my x's are on one side. So the first thing I got to get rid of is this plus 32. So we're going to do the opposite, subtract 32 from both sides. I get 6x is equal to, let's go, 104 minus 32. And I get 72. Okay, last step, I got to get rid of times by 6. Okay, so the opposite of times by 6 is divide by 6. So we have x is equal to 72 divided by 6, which gives me 12. So we know that x is equal to 12. Beautiful. Okay, let's do it one more time. So again, I'm given my two interior angles. We like to call them A and B. And we know added together they equal my exterior angle, which is C. Okay, so let's take my first angle, 6x minus 8, plus the other interior angle, which is 5x. And it all equals the exterior angle, 80. Okay, let's go ahead and combine like terms so we can solve for x. They're all on one side, so that's great. So I have positive 6x plus 5x, which is going to give me 11x, and then that minus 8 is going to, and it all still equals 80. Beautiful. Nice and pretty equation. Now we just have things we got to get rid of. Okay, so the first thing I got to get rid of on the same side as my equal sign is the minus 8. So we're going to do the opposite of subtract 8, which is to add 8 to both sides. So I have 11x is equal to 80 plus 8, 88. Okay, my very last step for getting x all by itself, I have to do the opposite of times by 11. So we're going to divide by 11. And I get x is equal to 88 divided by 11, which is 8. Beautiful. Okay, so that was the exterior angle where we're solving for x. Just set up an equation, Make sure all of your x's are on one side and get x all by itself. Okay, those are your notes. You have an assignment that goes with it.